Whenever my clients are traveling for work, there's one thing they want to make sure they can do, and that's keep their training going so they can keep progressing and not let work get in the way of their goals. The problem with that is that you're never really sure what kind of gym you're going to end up with, and sometimes it's really difficult to plan. In this video, I'm going to be giving you my best 45-minute dumbbell-only workout to help you hit your glutes while you're traveling and keep the momentum going with your progress. The first exercise you're going to be doing is a dumbbell RDL in the 7 to 10 rep range, and you're going to use 3 sets. The tempo is going to be controlled, and the main muscle that we're working here is the lower parts of glute max because we're getting the glutes into their lengthened position. We are also going to be working a bit of the upper back as well as the hamstrings. The second exercise that we're going to do is a single leg dumbbell hip thrust. This is a great exercise for 2 reasons. 1, it's going to work the glute in their shortened position, so we're going to hit more of the mid and upper glute. And 2, because you're doing it unilaterally, you're also going to get some stabilization work done from glute medius. For this one, we're going to use the 15 to 20 rep range because nobody likes putting a massive dumbbell on their lap so that we can get the stimulation that we need. We're going to be using higher reps closer to failure. So we're going to go 15 to 20, we're going to do 3 sets. We are going to make sure that we take each of these sets to 0 to 1 RIR, especially the final set, which I would like you to take to failure. The dumbbell RDL is one of my favorite exercises, but that's actually not the reason we're putting it first. We're putting it first because it loads so much better in a heavy rep range than it does in one of the higher ones. The 3 key points that I want you to focus on. The first, get rid of any trainers that you are wearing. You wouldn't do RDLs on a mattress, and essentially this big sponge here is no different to that. The other thing that they do is they get you forward. We want the hips to go back from the midline, not the knees. That's how we're going to get a lot more out of the glutes. The second thing, center foot pressure. If you're somebody who gets a lot of lower back pain, the reason for that is that you're rocking back onto your heels, then you have to push the dumbbells away from you to counterbalance. And that's why you're going to get a lot of lower back pain. So I want you to imagine you've got 2 of those little yellow ducks, one under each center foot. And when you press down under that central part of your feet, they're going to squeak. And that's going to give you so much more stimulus to the glutes. It's also going to allow them to produce more force. Point number 3, keep the dumbbells close. The whole reason that we do an RDL is to lengthen this part of the glute here. And to do that, we need to get more flexion through the hips here. So when we are lowering, we're trying to keep the lats and the back tight so that the hips and shoulders travel at the same time. If we disconnect between those, again, that's where the lower back comes in. Trying to get the dumbbells over the mid part of the foot. And then I'm really pressing all the way through that central part. The other thing to consider with this is how deep we're going to go. I have quite good range of motion through my hips, but you don't need to go any lower than just below the knees where you're going to get a lot of that. The difficulty with some of you is you're so chest up, it's impossible. So keep your chin tucked and allow that mobility in the hips to come to fruition. The second exercise that we're going to do is a single leg dumbbell hip thrust. It's going to work the glute in their shortened position, so we're going to hit more of the mid and upper glute. Because you're doing it unilaterally, you're also going to get some stabilization work done from glute medius, so we're starting to bring in the whole glute muscle into the session. For this one, we're going to use the 15 to 20 rep range because nobody likes putting a massive dumbbell on their lap. We're going to be using higher reps closer to failure. So we're going to go 15 to 20, we're going to do 3 sets. We are going to make sure that we take each of these sets to 0 to 1 RIR, especially the final set, which I would like you to take to failure. The single leg dumbbell hip thrust is a sneaky favorite of mine. The reason I've got this plate here is because this bench is quite low. You'll notice I still have my shoes off. Again, I don't want my heels elevated here. I want my feet flat. Make sure your scapulars, big bones in the upper back, is on the bench. I'm not just looking at the camera here. I'm actually keeping my head like this anyway, because I want to maintain good extension through the spine. So imagine you have a drinks tray and you're going to keep those hips stable. Again, I'm still squeezing down hard through the midfoot. I'm not allowing the knee to rock back. I'm keeping it nice and high and nice and tall, and then I'm pressing through here, keeping my core tight. When it comes to loading the dumbbell, I like to fold this over so it's almost on a 45-degree angle, because I tend to just hold this bit here. Nice and square, down as low as I can, big press. So I'm not squeezing my glutes really, I'm pressing through the floor. Focus on the performance of this rather than the weight and reps. Perform it well, load the glute well, and you'll reap the rewards. My third exercise is going to be a Bulgarian split squat. No, I'm only joking. You can do a Bulgarian split squat, but we're actually going to do deficit reverse lunges. I love a Bulgarian split squat, but when you're trying to save time, if you do too many unilateral exercises, you're doubling the length of the work that you're doing because you have to do both legs, and that can be real time pressure towards the end of a session if you're working hard. So we're actually going to do alternating dumbbell deficit reverse lunges. I love this exercise because when done well, it's going to hit the glute in its lengthened range really nicely. Because you're alternating through the legs, it doesn't feel like you're doing 2 sets, unlike with Bulgarian split squats, and you're going to get some stabilization work done from glute medius because you're working unilaterally. It's really easy to load, it's really easy to set up. All in all, it's a great exercise to have. You're going to be doing these in the 10 to 15 rep range. We're not going to go super heavy because loading it can sometimes be difficult. We're not going to go super light because then you might be struggling with your cardio. And we're going to take each set to around 1 to 2 RAR. And I want you to do only 2 sets of these. You are going to push that set to failure. I want you wobbling in the knees by the time this comes to an end. The alternating deficit reverse lunge is a brilliant exercise because you can do both legs in the same set. And yes, the set takes a bit longer, but because you're doing left, right, you don't really compromise either of your legs due to the cardiovascular element of the exercise, which I really, really like. The other is that if you can get it into a deficit, I've used 2 bumper plates here, you get a lot more out of the glutes because we're putting the hips into deeper flexion, which means an already targeted lower part of your glute is about to get a whole lot more work done. I'm going to show you how to make it very much more glute focused and trying to eliminate the quads. If you're just going to do this, there is absolutely no point in having this as an aid because you're not using the deficit. Start in this position like so. This is where you're going to tell if this is going to be more glute focused or more quad focused. If you are somebody who gets really far forward here to get up, look how far forward of the midline the knee is. That's going to be a telltale sign that we're going to be using a lot of quad. What we want is we want the muscle we're trying to focus on to be as far away from that midline of the foot as possible, and that's these bad boys. We want the shin more vertical, not so vertical that it's behind, because that's going to mean you're going to do a lot more work to the hamstring. We want the knee, the front of the knee, sat over that midline. That looks pretty good from my angle, dare I say so myself. And from there, we're pushing down again. So imagine the duck analogy I used the last time. Squeeze the yellow duck, there. Back into that position, squeeze, swap feet, back into that position, squeeze. If you have the mobility to do so, what you can also do is start to stretch a bit further back. Get the dumbbells and be in this position. So you see my knee is still over the center line, but this knee is now further back, which means this glute has got a lot more work to do because we're extending the distance to which we're working. Up from there. Here, big stretch, still, knee over midline, big press. From this position, same thing. We're going to lower down into the position, press up. Same again, lower down, press up. What you'll notice I am not doing is swinging these dumbbells. I am keeping them very, very still, and I am pressing really hard through the front leg. So my 3 key points: if you're going to use a deficit, use the deficit. Make sure the knee sits over the midline of the foot. It can go a bit further forward if you need it to. Don't dive bomb. Make sure we place the foot and then squeeze that midfoot to come back up. The 4th exercise is a dumbbell lateral kickback. I've also seen people call these glute medius thrusts. These are great exercises because they're going to work both glute medius, even though one is the target muscle. Because the other one has to stabilize, it's still going to be getting some work, a lot like what you would do on a kickback. We're going to do these in the 15 to 20 rep range. However, if you want to take them slightly higher, you can go as high as 25. Make sure you do your weak leg first and then match reps with a strong leg second. We're going to do 3 sets of these, and the rest time for these is going to be significantly shorter to the others that we've done. We are actually only going to do 60 seconds for these, so the pump is going to come thick and fast. Now this next one is particularly spicy, and it does feel a bit weird when you first do it, but give it a few reps with a lighter dumbbell to start with, and you will see and feel the difference that it makes. So don't dive in with something heavy. If anything, do it body weight to begin with. So what I want you to imagine with this one is that we're going to lean into this side, and then we're going to explode out. So lean in, explode out. What's really important about this movement is you're not using the momentum of the hand to throw you that way. If anything, it's 2 parts. It's up and out, stretch the other, up and out. Stretch the other, up and out. And guess what? Being the theme of today, you are going to press really hard down through the middle of this foot. That's what we're focusing on, okay? It feels weird, but it's a phenomenal exercise, and I do think you're going to really enjoy it. And I wanted to put this in here because training should be fun. We should be exploring things. And there is no better time to explore a new exercise than when you're traveling and you're just trying to get in some training sessions. I think it's a really good idea to spice things up, keeps things interesting, and most importantly, it might give you the best exercise you've ever had just because you tried something while you're away. So the 3 key points for this one, really important that we are pressing down through this foot. Second point, make sure we really get into this side. Let's get a really good stretch. And then the third point, rather than get the momentum and then open, we're going down and we're opening everything as soon as we come out of that position. Exercise number 5, we've got frog pumps, and you're going to do one massive myo set of these. We're going to do 80 reps with a weight that you can do a maximum of 20 reps with. The set's continuous, which means you have to get to 80 reps, but the aim is to get there with as fewer breaks as possible. You've only got to do one set, and this is going to burn, it's going to hurt, but it's going to be the best way to finish your session. And again, we're going to get the glutes in there short and range, so we're looking mid to upper glute for this one, and that concludes our exercises. Last but not least, 80 reps of pure hell. You've got 2 options here. I really like getting my back up against a wall like this and doing them, but if you don't have a Bosu ball, it can be quite difficult or the right position. So we are actually just going to demonstrate this now. Create this almost butterfly-like position in the legs. We're then going to lie back like so. Now the aim here is to squeeze the glutes together in this position. So we're really focusing on that shortened position there, like so. I like to scoop quite a lot because I don't have as good a range of motion in my knees, thanks to 6 knee surgeries. So I scoop quite a lot. I really like scooping. I think it's a really great way of doing it. So from here, again, up, down, up, down, up, down. And what we're looking to get, because it's quite a short range of motion, the key really is in the name. Frog pumps. We are trying to pump, 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 pump. If you choose a good enough weight, the first part will end around 18 to 20. Then you might do 15, then you might do 12, then you might do 9, then you might do 8. And the last few reps are going to be a real struggle, but no more struggle than trying to get out of the gym after you've done this session. Because if you load the glutes right, it's not about the weight that you use, it's about how you load them. This isn't magic. Dumbbell workouts aren't magic. They're not going to produce any more results than something else. But what is magic is the ability to pick up a training session while you're traveling so that your results can continue to develop. So many people get overwhelmed and they just think, well, I'll just skip it and I'll do it next week. Dumbbells have to be put into a training session like anything else. When we design a program, when we design a session, we're actually putting together a structure of things in a certain way so that each of the blocks that we're putting in has a role. They're not just thrown in. They are placed in a proper way so that we're getting some lengthened work, we're getting some shortened work, we're getting some unilateral work, we're getting some abduction work. We are hitting all of the parts of the glutes in their intended ways. If you train even half as well, you should make great results with a workout like this. And as always, the last thing that you need to be doing if you really want to make the most out of this, load the muscles well, push the exercises close to failure, and make sure that the form that you are using actually is stimulating the muscle. And if you're not sure, do a couple of warm-up sets and then get cracking with that. If you want this session, I've put a PDF down below. Go and grab it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Goodbye for now.